I'm about to show you weapons that don't explode, don't flash, and don't make the sound you expect. Some of them are legal where firearms aren't. Some are used for hunting animals bigger than cars. And every single one on this list has taken lives, without firing a single shot. By the end of this video, you'll never look at non-gun weapons the same way again. 10. Lance Head F1 Crossbow. Most people think crossbows are medieval toys. That belief disappears the moment you see what this thing actually does. The Lance Head F1 doesn't rely on gunpowder, gas, or air. Everything here is pure mechanical force. An 80-pound draw weight launches bolts at roughly 350 feet per second, fast enough to punch through a deer's ribcage at 40 yards. That's not theory. This model is actively used in big game hunting across the US. What makes it especially dangerous is the silence. There's no bang, no crack, no warning. The bolt hits before the target understands what happened. Hunters often describe it as one of the most psychologically intimidating weapons ever made, because it feels personal. 9. Umarex Hammer. This doesn't look like an air rifle, and it definitely doesn't behave like one. The Umarex Hammer is a .50 caliber pre-charged pneumatic rifle that produces over 700 foot-pounds of energy. To put that in perspective, that's more power than many Magnum firearms, without using a single grain of gunpowder. Instead, it runs entirely on compressed air. It fires massive 550-grain slugs, designed for the largest game in North America: elk, moose, bear, even bison. This is not marketing hype. Documented hunts exist. Each airfill gives you about 2 full power shots, and those shots hit with terrifying authority. The projectile size alone causes extreme trauma, and the penetration is deep enough to reach vital organs on animals weighing over 1,000 pounds. There's no explosion, no muzzle blast, just a heavy thump and immediate impact. Because of its power and complexity, this is a niche weapon. It requires a high-pressure air tank or compressor, quality optics, and experience. But for those who know what they're doing, it's the absolute pinnacle of big-bore air guns. In the US, the Umarex Hammer typically costs around $1,100 to $1,300, depending on setup. And that price buys you something unsettling: firearm-level lethality without firearm classification in many places. Now let's step away from hunting and into weapons designed for people. 8. OSA PB4 SPI. At first glance, this looks like a chunky revolver, but it's something much stranger. The OSA PB4 SPI is a Russian-made CO tactical pistol that fires .43 caliber rubber balls, pepper balls, and even paintballs. It doesn't sound lethal until you understand the physics. These projectiles leave the barrel at over 300 feet per second. At close range, rubber balls can break ribs, collapse lungs, and cause severe internal bleeding. Pepper rounds add chemical damage on top of blunt trauma. Security companies and riot control units use this weapon because it sits in a dangerous gray zone, officially less lethal, but capable of killing under the wrong conditions. The all-metal body gives it serious weight. The 4-round revolving cylinder means every shot counts. There's no spray and pray here. What makes this weapon controversial is misuse. Some users load harder custom projectiles, dramatically increasing injury risk. That's one reason availability is limited, especially outside military and security markets. When sold legally, comparable systems typically range around $400 to $700 USD, depending on configuration and ammunition type. It's not a firearm, but it's absolutely not a toy. And if blunt force can do this much damage, imagine what happens when speed increases. 7. CO Blowback BB Pistol. This is where perception really starts to fail people. Most assume BB guns are harmless, but modern CO blowback pistols blur the line between training tool and real threat. These pistols fire steel BBs at speeds between 350 and 450 feet per second. That's enough to penetrate skin, damage eyes permanently, and punch through thin materials at close range. The blowback system cycles the slide with every shot, creating realistic recoil. The weight, balance, and controls often match real firearms exactly. Law enforcement agencies use these for scenario training because muscle memory transfers directly, and that realism is part of the danger. At close distances, steel BBs can ricochet unpredictably, turning minor impacts into severe injuries. While not designed for ethical hunting, they are far more powerful than traditional bead guns people remember from childhood. In the US, high-quality blowback BB pistols usually cost between $150 and $250 USD, with popular models replicating real Glock or SIG platforms. Cheap to run, easy to access, and often underestimated. But what happens when you scale that same idea up into a full-power rifle? 6. Gamo Swarm Whisper. This rifle doesn't announce itself. That's the problem. The Gamo Swarm Whisper is a .22 caliber break barrel air rifle capable of firing pellets at up to 1,250 feet per second. That's approaching the speed of sound. It uses a gas piston system instead of springs or CO, delivering consistent power with surprisingly low noise. The built-in whisper suppression system keeps the firing sound quiet enough for backyard use, where legal. But don't let the silence fool you. This rifle is commonly used for pest control and small to medium game hunting. With its 10-shot rotary magazine, follow-up shots are fast, accurate, and deadly. No tanks. No cartridges. Just pellets. It's reliable, easy to maintain, and requires no external equipment. That simplicity makes it popular and dangerous in untrained hands. In the US, this rifle usually sells between $200 and $350 ESD, putting serious lethality within reach of almost anyone. And here's the unsettling part. Many people buy it thinking it's just an air gun. But the next weapon on this list takes that misunderstanding even further. 5. Hatsan Velox. Another optional clip. https:/www.youtube.com/shorts/0l-ednq3fkrk. Feature, share. If reliability had a sound, this rifle would barely make one. The Hatsan Velox is a .22 caliber spring piston air rifle that doesn't depend on CO, compressed air tanks, or electricity. You load a pellet, break the barrel, and the weapon is ready. That simplicity is exactly why it's often described as survival-ready. This rifle pushes pellets at over 1,000 feet per second, fast enough to deliver lethal force on medium-sized game at distances reaching 75 yards. That's farther than most people expect from something they casually label an air gun. The built-in suppressor reduces noise significantly. But because pellets can reach supersonic speed, there's still a sharp crack when fired at full power. That sound isn't intimidation, it's physics. What separates the Velox from many modern systems is independence. Temperature doesn't affect it much. Gas pressure doesn't drop. As long as you have pellets and physical strength to cock it, it works. Hunters and preparedness enthusiasts like it because it doesn't rely on external equipment. But that same trait means it can operate quietly, repeatedly, and legally in places where firearms are restricted. In the US, rifles like the Hatsan Velox usually sell between $180 and $300 USD, making it one of the most affordable lethal tools on this list. And while it looks basic, it delivers results that are anything but. Now let's shift from hunting tools to something designed for crowd control and consequences. 4. Fen 303 Tactical. This weapon was never meant for civilians. That alone should tell you something. The Fen 303 Tactical was designed by Fen Herstal for military and police use. It fires .68 caliber projectiles using compressed air stored at extremely high pressure. Unlike rifles, this launcher is semi-automatic and feeds from a 15-round drum magazine. It can fire impact rounds, pepper projectiles, marking rounds, and chemical irritants, all at roughly 300 feet per second. That speed doesn't sound extreme until you realize the projectiles are large, dense, and designed to transfer energy on impact. Broken bones, internal bleeding, and fatal head injuries have all been documented when used improperly. This is why training is mandatory wherever it's issued. The FN 303 is modular, accepts optics, and is designed for close quarters intervention where traditional firearms would cause unacceptable collateral damage. But less lethal doesn't mean safe. In some US regions, civilian ownership is legal with restrictions. When available, prices often exceed $3,000 ESD, and that's before ammunition and accessories. This weapon proves a hard truth. Removing gunpowder doesn't remove danger. And if controlled launches are frightening, wait until automatic fire enters the picture. 3. Crossman DPM's S-Bar Full Auto. This is where things get uncomfortable fast. The Crossman DPM's S-Bar is a fully automatic CO-powered BB rifle, styled exactly like a modern AR platform. It fires steel BBs at around 430 to 450 feet per second, with a claimed rate of fire near 1,100 rounds per minute. That means in seconds, you can empty a magazine into a target. At close range, the destructive capability is shocking. Cardboard shreds. Thin wood splinters. Aluminum cans collapse instantly. Flesh offers far less resistance than people expect. The rifle accepts real AR-style accessories, increasing realism and intimidation. That's why it's widely used for tactical training and why it can be so easily misunderstood. It's not legally classified as a firearm in many places. No gunpowder. No serial firearm registration. Yet the psychological effect alone can escalate situations dangerously. Reloading is frequent, with a 25-round magazine, but those 25 rounds arrive very quickly. 2. Umarex Notos 22 PCP Carbine. This weapon doesn't impress with noise, it impresses with consistency. The Umarex Notos is a pre-charged pneumatic carbine using 3,000 PCSI compressed air to fire pot 22 caliber pellets at over 700 feet per second. What makes it dangerous isn't raw speed, it's accuracy. At 50 yards, this rifle can produce 1-inch groups. That's surgical precision. The magazine-fed system allows quick follow-up shots, and a single airfill delivers 20 to 30 consistent shots. No loud report. No recoil, just quiet, repeatable performance. It can be filled using a hand pump or scuba tank, making it accessible even without advanced equipment. 1. Air Force Texan. This is not an airgun. The Air Force Texan is widely recognized as the most powerful production air rifle ever sold. Depending on caliber, it produces over 800 foot-pounds of energy, rivaling traditional hunting firearms. Available in .357, top .457, and top .50 caliber, this rifle fires massive lead slugs with devastating penetration. It's been used successfully on all North American big game and documented African hunts. The Texan is a single-shot PCP rifle, meaning every pull of the trigger is deliberate. Power output is tunable, allowing users to adjust energy based on target and distance. Despite its size and power, it uses no gunpowder, no explosive materials, and in many areas requires no firearm license. That fact alone makes it controversial. The rifle features a large air reservoir, side lever cocking, and a Picatinny rail for optics. But none of that softens the reality. This weapon can end life with terrifying efficiency. In the US, the Air Force Texan typically costs between $1,000 and $1,100 USD, not including air tanks or compressors. It represents a milestone in weapon technology, proof that lethality doesn't require fire. So the next time someone says, "It's not a real gun," remember this list. No explosions. No gunpowder. No traditional rules, yet the damage is very real. If this surprised you even a little, drop a comment and tell me which one shocked you the most. If you learned something new, hit like so this reaches more people who still underestimate these weapons. And if you want more breakdowns like this, clear, honest, and straight to the point, make sure you're subscribed, because what we don't understand is often what hurts us most.